Okay, I think we're good to start. So thanks everyone for joining. Today is our final webinar of our Black Friday session series. This is the third one on SMS strategy. If you've been here for all of them, thanks so much. And let's get into it. So just for what we're going to cover today, we'll start just quickly with 1 to 2 minutes on who we are. There's a few people who signed up for the webinar that have recently joined SmartMail over the last few weeks. So just a quick intro. Then we're going to get into the basics of SMS. So SMS numbers, number collection, and costs. And then at the back half of the webinar, we'll cover Black Friday tips, how to send an SMS in SmartMail, and we'll finish the webinar with a 5-minute Q&A and our resources. SMS will be pretty new for most people, so expect there to be a few questions. And if you haven't guessed already, SMS is launching in SmartMail. It'll be out live for everyone next week, so November 23rd. Also, throughout this week, we'll be releasing some features so you can start collecting SMS subscribers through your pop-up and other list collection tools. So just who we are at SmartMail. SmartMail is the easiest way to send best practice emails and automations that grow your business. Our two co-founders, George and Phil, they started Blue Thumb, Australia's largest online art gallery. And at that time, 6 or 7 years ago, MailChimp was really the default if you were selling online and wanted to send emails. However, if you wanted to do a lot of the things that the bigger brands were doing in terms of personalization and automation, you were stuck with really enterprise tools that, as a small to medium business, you didn't have the time, budget, or skills to use. So they saw that need there for Blue Thumb, and then they created it themselves. We've been growing ever since. We have over 19,000 stores using us worldwide, and we're integrated with all the major e-com platforms. So Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, and here in Australia, Maropost or Neato as well. And just some of the features we offer. So we have really easy multi-step automations, and pre-made ones as well, allowing you to do a lot of the best practice things like welcome emails, abandoned carts, browse abandonment emails. You'll be able to do SMS within these as well soon. We have a really quick newsletter composer. So rather than copy and pasting your images in or uploading, all you have to do is search for your images or search for your products, and then it'll be added to your emails instantly. We have a really nice pop-up builder, so you can create even specific pop-ups just for mobile, as there's different requirements there. And I think the best thing about SmartMail is our fantastic success team. So wherever you are in the world, you'll get a response time under 10 minutes. And that's not just technical help too. That's strategy and everything else, as well as onboarding. And of course, we'll also be releasing SMS. So let's get into it. SMS is a huge step for us too. We've been email focused and email only since the beginning of time. So this is the first other channel that we'll be adding to SmartMail, and we expect there to be more channels next year as well. It's a really powerful channel. If you haven't used it before, or you just think of using it, I really recommend just giving it a try. We'll get into the cost later, but all our plans are really approachable, and it should allow you to test how this channel performs with your audience, which I think will be should do really well. So SMS numbers. So these are the numbers. I'm just going to go over some of the basic elements that you need to be aware of. And because we're going to be launching in the US and Canada and Australia to start, I'll just be covering those countries. If you're from another country, then I'd still stay along. The US and Canadian market and the requirements there are pretty similar. So when we release to other countries throughout the end of the year and next year, a lot of these requirements will still be required. So for US and Canadian numbers, there's actually been a big change here over 2021. And most of the industry has moved towards toll-free numbers. These are very low cost and high throughput. So depending on the number, it's $1 to $2 a month. These will be ready to go next week in SmartMail. This is what the vast majority of brands are using, and we recommend you should do the same. But there are some brands that still like using a traditional 10-digit long code number. We won't have these at launch, but we'll release them later this year. They're more traditional. They look like a normal number, but they do require a longer regulatory process, and they're also a bit more expensive to procure. Those will be there, but if you're just starting with SMS and you haven't used a 10-digit long code before, almost every new user, regardless of platform, is using toll-free. So that's the way to go. It's a bit different in Australia, though. So in Australia, the best practice is an alphanumeric. It's not really a number, so yeah, just an alphanumeric sender. And that's the quickest way to get started. There's no cost to it, and there's no regulatory process as well. Essentially, you can just send from this name. If you essentially shop anywhere, we'll get into the rules and regulations later, but if you essentially shop anywhere, you've likely received an SMS and in Australia, and you've seen that it's just from a name. The one difference, though, is that alphanumeric senders, you can't reply to them. So there's no two-way chat. There's no two-way opt-out. So there's a few different rules here that you'll need to be aware of. The first one is that you need to include an opt-out message. Our default will be to an unsubscribe link. That's just the same as it is an email. But in the future, once we release mobile numbers, you can have a few different strategies as well. You probably have seen some in your own text messages that'll say text stop to this mobile number. And that's a strategy you'll be able to employ as well. But really, rather than your customers going to that number, adding it into their messages and sending something else, really that unsubscribe link is the way to go. And if you don't want to use this, which is the best practice, you can look in your phone messages right now and you'll see every brand, or maybe politician as well, use this alphanumeric. But if you want to use a mobile number, we'll introduce those later in the year, and those will start from $6 a month. And that's just our cost as well. We don't make any money on the numbers. We're just going to pass that cost on to you. So now, how do you collect numbers as a customer? So this is very important, and one thing that you need to get right from the start and always. So in the US, it's very strict. You must have explicit consent that someone has subscribed to your SMS list. It doesn't mean that just because someone subscribed to email that you can also send them SMS. It needs to be I've subscribed to specifically SMS. So this needs to be in your pop-up. It needs to be in your forms, and it needs to be in your checkout. If you're using Shopify, which most of our US customers are, then they've made it very easy with an SMS marketing consent on checkout. So within your settings, if you go to marketing consent, you can just turn that on. And just like how someone subscribes to your email marketing at checkout, there'll be an option for them to subscribe to SMS as well. We won't let you start upload any SMS numbers. It has to either be from Shopify or it needs to be from us collecting it. And that's just to ensure you're getting the best deliverability and complying with those regulations. In Australia, well, it's not really strict at all. Some will refer to it as the Wild West, and you could probably tell that from your own messages app. So in Australia, we require implicit or inferred consent. So inferred consent means that you can reasonably infer that a user or a customer wants to receive SMS updates from you. That doesn't mean that they've just ordered from your store. That is not allowed. But you can infer that maybe they want to receive marketing updates from you because they've subscribed to other marketing channels or they have an account with you. This isn't legal advice. If you're sending, especially in large volumes, you should probably consult with your own legal representative. But that's generally how the majority of the market behaves. And in Australia, SMS communication is governed by ACMA, or the Communications and Media Authority. So that's where complaints go. So if sometimes you might get a complaint from an angry customer who's forgotten that they subscribed to your list 2 years ago. It's happened before. ACMA is if someone gets a spam SMS or they don't feel like they should have received SMS from you, they can complain to ACMA and ACMA can deal with that. again, just because someone's ordered from your store, that does not mean that they've subscribed to SMS. You need to have implicit consent. So just like in the US, you can either take that from the pop-up or your checkout, or you can reasonably infer that from them being subscribed to email or another marketing channel, or they have an account with you. And we'll have those controls available in SmartMail as well. So now the costs. So the big thing with SMS is that compared to emails, where sending an individual email costs fractions of a cent, SMS is hundreds to almost thousands the times of cost per message. But generally, it's worth that because for SMS, you have a 98 to 99% open rate. So SMS plans will be at a monthly subscription with SmartMail, and they'll be credit-based. So generally, in the US, each SMS credit is worth, or each SMS send is worth 1 cent. And in Australia, it's worth, an SMS send or credit is worth 5 cents. Those are just the cost and the carrier fees across different countries. So in the US, our plans will start at $10 per month. That will include a toll-free number and 1,000 credits. And for each additional credit, it's 1 cent. For Australia, we because of the increase in sending costs, our plans will start at $59 a month Australian. They'll include 500 credits. And you'll also get, if you need additional credits, there'll be 5 Australian cents each. What we do recommend is you don't send to your, especially in Australia where there's a bit more lax consent rules, we don't think you should send to your entire list because of these higher costs. So if you have 100,000 subscribers, you should not, on email, you should not be sending 100,000 SMS messages. Generally, your SMS list should be about 10 to 25% of your email list. If you have a lot of inferred consent, trim that down to either be very loyal customers, so customers that have purchased multiple times, or customers that have spent over a certain amount, or for specific periods, which we'll get into, maybe customer, you can not send to your entire list, but send to segments based on when customers usually purchase. So those are the basics. And now let's get into the Black Friday tips. So what will be released next week will be SMS campaigns, letting you send bulk campaigns to your customers. This is what we think you should send for Black Friday. Of course, there are automations and stuff you should send too, but the automation features will be released in the following weeks. So we'll have separate webinars and separate content around that. But generally, these are the campaigns that we think you should send next week if you want to start with SMS. So the first one is an early access one. And I think you should really make count. So only send this campaign to your most engaged or loyal customers and make it seem like it's to them as well. So personalized SMS campaigns generally perform better than just generic ones. So you'll be able to add personalized fields into all your SMS messages. So you can include, for example, like my name here. So yeah, your first campaign for SMS, your first SMS campaign for Black Friday should generally be next week on Tuesday or Wednesday, letting your subscribers know that you kicked off your Black Friday sale early and they have exclusive access. That may or may not be true. It's up to you, but you can include that in the image or in the message. The next campaign is the one on Black Friday itself. So this one should create a real sense of urgency, and that should be within your message. So you should tell your subscribers that this is your biggest sale of the year. They only have 12 or 4 hours left whenever you send it, and have a link for them to go and shop straight on your site. And yeah, it should be very clear that generally for most merchants, Black Friday is the best prices that you can get all year. So that should be made clear to your subscribers. And for this campaign, I would consider sending it to a larger audience. So you don't need to send it to just loyal or engaged customers. You can send it to either your entire SMS list or your loyal and engaged customers, plus customers that have purchased around the same time last year. And then the final SMS campaign that we think you should be sending for Black Friday is a sale extension. So it is an industry norm now to start Black Friday early, generally from Monday next week. If you've watched our prior webinars, we've actually mentioned that you should start it this week just because of the shipping delays and other logistical issues we've had this year throughout the pandemic. First, it should start early, but then it should also be extended definitely throughout all of Cyber Week, which is the Monday through the Friday the week after. So what you should do is run your sale through that Cyber Week and send a message. But again, SMS does cost more than emails. So you can't really be lax about it and just send it to your entire list, where generally you're not going to have any extra cost. SMS, the cost will be per message you send. So again, for this sale extension, segment this list, and it should be sent to people that have not purchased during your sale or have not purchased recently. So you're reducing that amount of sends, and the sends that you are sending, you're really getting the best bang for your buck. So yeah, those are the campaigns we think you should send in SmartMail. And now let's get into how to do it. So the first step is to choose a plan. So within your billing page next week, you'll see at the bottom of the page, there'll be an SMS add-on. So you can choose how many credits you want per month. The minimum in the US will be 1,000. In Canada, in Australia, it'll be 500. The credits will roll over every month as well. So if you don't use all your credits, those will roll over into the next month. Of course, a lot of you are going to need more than 1,000 or 500 SMS credits. So you can just pull the slider to the right or enter how many SMS credits you need for the month in there. And then we'll create a plan, and that will just bill you every single month. And if you need to reduce the SMS credits because you're rolling over or increase them with the next month, you can go in and edit that as well. And if you run out of SMS credits during the month, you can also apply an auto top-up. So if you run out of SMS credits on your newsletter or maybe on your automations once those are live, we'll just auto top up $10 worth of credits so you can keep sending without having to worry about it. The next is to edit to your number settings. So in the US, you'll get a toll-free number when you first go on a subscription. In Australia, you will have to just set your alphanumeric. We'll automatically set that to your company name that we get from your platform. So whether that's Shopify or Neato. However, you can go into the settings page and edit that alphanumeric yourself. You'll also have to change your opt-out message. So how you say that is up to you. It should generally be either very short, so just unsub and then the link or the code, or if you want to brand it, you can do that as well. But generally, you only have 160 characters within an SMS, so you don't want to spend most of that message just with an unsub message. You should keep it short so you can keep sending the bulk of your message with actual content. And then you need to set consent keywords. So these will be pre-made at the start. So things like if you send stop to a number, especially in the US where there's two-way, that will just unsubscribe a user from SMS. But in the future, will allow you to add your own consent keywords. So if you have a fun, interesting brand that has more like slang terms, you can add those words and add different messages to let people interact with you through SMS. And the next part is to send a campaign. So on your left sidebar menu, you'll see SMS there and SMS Campaigns. You can go and create a campaign. Sending an SMS campaign should take you a lot less time than creating an email. There's no drag and drop or images or products that you need to add. It's just simply text. So you can choose a list. It'll be the same as your email list. So if you choose all subscribers or a certain list, we'll just take the SMS subscribers from there. You can set your message. You'll see that there's a character counter that'll limit you to 160 characters. And then you can add personalized fields. So if you want to add a name or any field like even last product purchased or something like that, all the ones that we have available for email, you can add that to your SMS. And if you want to add an image, that becomes an MMS. So MMS, you actually do have more characters, but generally for MMS, that's double the cost. So we don't really recommend sending them for just bulk campaigns. MMS is better sent in really high intent messages, possibly like abandoned cards and stuff, which we'll be releasing throughout the end of the year. And there's just a few other settings as well too. So Adding your organization prefix. This is especially important for the US because in the US, you're not going to be sending from alphanumeric. So including your company name at the top. And the next bit is auto shortening links. So yeah, you don't want to be putting full links in your SMS campaigns. You only have so many characters. A long link will take up the bulk of that. So SmartMail will auto shorten the links to our own link shortener, which will be smrt.so with a little string at the end. You can use your own link shortener as well. Just turn that off. But you should definitely not use any generic one. So the common one that a lot of people will use on their social media is Bitly. If you use Bitly with SMS, that will go into the proverbial spam box or spam folder. There's obviously no spam folder for SMS, but carriers just won't deliver your message. They'll just block it at the gateway because there's a lot of spam links and stuff that go through Bitly links. So if you're going to shorten links, use our shortener, which is smrt.so. That will be created automatically once you add your links, or brand them yourself. There's some really good Bitly. Actually, you can do that yourself. So you can edit some DNS settings and create your own link shortener, or you can use other tools like I think short.io is another one where it's a very simple setup. You just can add all your links in there. There's link tracking as well. And you can create a short brand link that is great for SMS. There's one from Paulo. So what if you have a US and Australian store? Can you migrate from SMS to SmartMail? Yes, you can do both, Paulo. So even if you're an Australian store or Australian account, you can send to both US and Australia. You'll just need a US number for to send to US stores. Depending on the plan you're on. So if you're on Shopify or any non-Neato platform, you'll be on that US plan. So it'll be 1 cent per credit, but if you're sending to Australia, that the credits will be a bit more. So it might cost 4 credits per SMS send to send to Australia. Whereas for our Neato stores or Maropo stores, where we, optimize for sending to Australia, you can send to Australia for 1 credit, but because the costs to send to the US are cheaper, it'll only cost a quarter of a credit to send to the US. And again, you'll need to procure a US number to send to US customers. You can't send to them from an Australian alphanumeric. And I think that that answers the second question too, which is, does a credit equal 1 SMS? Yes. So for the Neato plans, let me go back to this slide actually, just so it makes a bit more sense. So for the Neato plans, yes, if you're sending to Australia, 1 SMS will equal 1 SMS credits. And if you're on the US plan, 1 SMS will equal 1 SMS credit. But yeah, if you're sending to different countries, then it'll cost a bit more. So again, for the US, if you're sending to Australia with an Australian number and you're on a US plan, that's going to cost 4 credits per SMS. And if you're in Australia sending to a US number from a US number, but you're on the Neato plan, it'll cost 0.25 credits. I'm going to pick one here from Shaw. So can SMS be added within an automation in a flow where a welcome email isn't opened? Is it followed by an SMS? Yes, not right away. So next week, we'll just be launching campaigns. I'm making sure you can send those for Black Friday. But in the following weeks, we'll be releasing automations. There'll be a few different ways you can do that. Generally, it'll just be through a split. So there's conditional splits now within SmartMail. So you can say if someone's ordered since the beginning of this campaign, send them through these 2 different branches. So there'll be splits based on SMS. So if someone is subscribed to SMS, send yes or no, send them down to the branch. So if on the yes branch, I assume you will put an SMS action there. So if they're subscribed to SMS on your second welcome campaign, send them an SMS message. And if not, send them a regular email message. Yes, so to answer the question, yes, but not right away. Yeah, from Paulo, can we migrate our current SMS provider, SMS Pump, to SmartMail? We have 1,800 subscribers already in there. I don't want to lose those subscribers. Yeah, you definitely can, Paulo. we haven't built the tools to do it automatically, but we can help you for this first week and just the next few weeks. We can just do it kind of like a ad hoc, like white glove basis. So just reach out to our support team. They'll confirm, and you probably need either your SMS bump access or an export. We'll just confirm that those customers are subscribed, and then we can migrate them to you from SmartrMail. But in the future, we're going to have different tools. So import tools like we have from pulling emails from MailChimp. So they'll be the same for SMS, but from SMS Bump and other providers as well. So that was our last webinar of our Black Friday session. So yeah, for everyone, thanks so much for attending today and for all the other sessions. For if you still haven't got your Black Friday campaigns ready, these are some of our resources that we have available. So we have our Black Friday hub, so you can see that on our website, and that'll link to all these resources. If you're still getting your email campaigns ready, check out blackfridayemails.com. That has some really great inspiration. That's our list of curated campaigns. And then we have our expert tips ebook, which has some really great tips from our agency and app partners, as well as marketing experts from around the world for what you should be doing this Black Friday. If you're looking for any other apps, maybe like pop-ups or tools like that, you can check out our app bundle where there's some great deals there. You already have your Black Friday and Cyber Monday templates loaded into your account. Those look really great this year. So if you need some help getting your campaigns ready, check those out. And finally, we have some really great videos on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, definitely check out our YouTube channel. You can just search SmartrMail on YouTube and subscribe there. There'll be some really great videos and how-tos around SMS as well throughout the rest of the year. So thanks everyone, and good luck with Black Friday. I hope it goes really great for everyone. Thanks.